Phoenix Rising Mauritius, a self-leadership retreat for women who are beautifully over it. Selena, have you ever felt beautifully over it?
That has been a phrase that has been just so important to me these last years of just releasing what I don't need, like let it go. And I think you have some
Oh, yeah.
of that too, right? Is you've prepared this retreat for so many of us coming from all over the globe.
And I think what I want to just pay attention to is so many women I've spoken to speak about how they're beautifully over it. I'm letting that go. But you know what? They're still carrying that trauma. They're still carrying that emotional residue. They're still carrying those belief systems that they're small. And that was really my vision when I put this retreat together is diving underneath the layers. We've got a conscious and an unconscious identity and going deep into that unconscious identity and letting go of the stuff. It's not about saying I'm beautifully over it. It's about actually releasing it.
You know, you mentioned, that living it, and you've been so clear in bringing this intentional group together that I've often thought about, like, what is it going to do for me, and was it going to do for my daughter who's coming with me and my friends who are coming with me, and I think other people watching today or checking in on this clip too, of just being able to go and be and do some of that reflection and work, right, in a space that just welcomes it and encourages it in whatever way they're comfortable.
Yeah. And of course, with people who are okay with it. Because I know you and me we're really good at holding space. We're really good at saying, you just be you, darling, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So let's talk about why Mauritius. I know why I chose Mauritius as the venue, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But why did you choose? Why did you answer the call? Why did you bring a whole cohort of women from the US to Mauritius?
You certainly were the main part of that, right? Because of the work you've done and because of what you're willing to share. I just wanted to be able to help other people draw from that goodness and then bring their self and their talents and their insights to the rest of the group. And Mauritius was just such a unique opportunity to see. I am actually drawn to sitting on an island in the middle of the Indian Ocean. Like, that's very true. But
No
um,
brainer.
and while it's beautiful, right, and has all the just amazing setting for us to have these conversations and to take that rest and that time, we know it's way more than just an amazingly beautifully culturally rich island. It is what it welcomes all of the rest of us to do.
That's exactly it. So I love what you say about this cultural richness and what it invites us to do. Because I don't even know if I told you this story, but Mauritius is the first place that I traveled to after my awakening. Mauritius is the place that taught me to stop living small. Mauritius is the place that challenged me to stretch my previously held ideas of what's possible and what's not possible. So for me, Mauritius is really symbolic. It just helps that it's beautiful, culturally diverse, tranquil. I think it's the perfect place for this retreat.
Ah, I really hope some others might join us, maybe by picking up on what we're sharing here and checking out the website, that they might also feel that call to say, I can do this for me. And we know it's not going to be everybody's moment to do it, but we would welcome a few others to join us and just be able to join in this community of women, gathered together to just welcome whatever is.
Yeah. So let me throw the question at you. Why you, Selena? Why did you join? I know from a branding perspective, you've got this lovely anthology of poems, the Beautifully Over It collection that we're going to hear more about. But why did you feel such a synergy beyond the brands to align yourself with this retreat and to bring this message to women of the world?
I think for me, it started off of just something I was drawn to, of continuing the work that I'm doing on me. And I am a traveler any chance I can get. So that was the first draw, but it was much deeper than that. And true story, and I don't know that I've said this to you. Originally, when I signed up, I'm like, isn't this lovely? I'm going to go by myself and enjoy this retreat and soak up all the goodness from Chantel and Mauritius and meet some other women. Well, now I have a cohort coming with me from the US, right? And my daughter is included in that. And I'm like, oh, this isn't a trip by myself anymore. But I really think that was the universe way of telling me, no, no, don't hold this to yourself. Like the more I talked about it and the more I shared with others, they're like, I need that too. And I went, that's why I'm doing this. So it changed. I didn't know what it was. And I'm
Yes.
sure it will evolve again in a month when we're there of why I'm there. But I just, I would encourage others to think about the same thing. The moment they sign up, the reason may evolve and they
Yes.
just don't know what it is yet, but to trust the process. And
Mm.
so true story, that's my original plan was not how this has turned out. And I love it for that reason because now I look at it, I'm like, how amazing is this?
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? You've said something that I find so fascinating. I didn't position this retreat as a mother daughter retreat. It is certainly not positioned as a mother daughter retreat, but it just so happens you're bringing your
Mhm.
daughter. It just so happens my mom is coming along. And it just so happens there's another lady from Mauritius who's bringing her daughter. Isn't it interesting how there's this pull between the generations of women? And I'm wondering if there isn't something symbolically here that maybe we need to dive a little bit deeper into this mother daughter bond and identity and permission.
I think, while I know there are also some attending who would have loved to have brought their daughters or daughter and it just hadn't worked, or oh, my goodness, if I could have had this experience with my own mother somewhere along the way while she was here, right? But I think about this deeper desire to heal, right, across the generations, to bring those conversations with new insight and new love and just all the amazing things. And if someone can't, right, because that wasn't the positioning of this retreat, that maybe it's what they need to go back and have those conversations with
Yes,
women in their life or others in their life as well.
yes, absolutely. And again, that opens up another interesting thing that I've noticed with another one of the ladies who's booked on the retreat. And she said to me, you know what? I know so many people who I would love to invite to this retreat, but I'm being selfish. They're not allowed to come because I'm going to be dealing with my shit.
Occurred to me as well. And we want people to come and find what they need in this. And so yes, sometimes you need to protect that space. And so no, I'm doing this for me. Even though I originally thought that, no, I'm really not only still doing this for me, but I'm going to share that with others. And that process has been amazing.
And on that note, as much as
Yeah.
there will be group work, there will be a lot of peer discussions, partnered discussions. When we go deep, we're going to break away into much smaller groups. And if you happen to be partnered with your daughter and you're thinking, can't go there with her, we're going to swap you out. This is good.
She's already told me that. She has first dibs on that. She can go, nope, this conversation is not happening with my mother.
There you
I
go.
hope that this conversation and these words reach maybe just somebody else who go, I want to be a part of that. And we hope that they will. We know it's not going to fit everybody's timeline to join us in Mauritius in less than a month, or about a month, but I think there's possibility there that some other
Agree.
people may need to hear this and could just make that move. And we'll help
Yeah.
them with all the logistics, right? We'll
Yeah.
help them make that decision and then figure out how to get to this amazing island in the middle of the Indian Ocean, which for
Right?
some of us is further away than others. Yes.
Exactly. And also just on that note, Selena, something that I've noticed that comes up repeatedly in my women's membership, and it's very much going to be a pillar or a cornerstone of the retreat, is the girls always say to me, we have what I call a support call or a group coaching call the third Wednesday of every month. And the girls and I, this is our favorite Wednesday of the month because this is where we share from the heart. And you know what happens in this conversation? People sit back and go, wow, me too. And you know the power of those two little words. I mean, the Me Too movement became a movement. So I
We
think
need that connection, right? I think we are increasingly seeking that connection. And I hope that if someone hears this or gets introduced to the idea of the retreat and they can't do it, that they check out your women's group and the other services you offer because of exactly the same passion and vision you're bringing to this group is what you bring to that group of women all month long. And I hope that they will consider that if this particular trip is not the right one for them yet.
that's it. Well, you know what? Let's come back to Beautifully Over It. Don't you want to share
Ah,
your key reading from your Beautifully Over It anthology that you're going
oh,
to be sharing with us at the retreat? What is your favorite quote that is in line with this retreat?
one of the areas I spent a lot of time with is around Oh, the Versions of Me. So in this collection of poetry, they all speak to something around. The first part is really around roots and release. The second part is about fire and flight, and the third is about light and letting go. And for me, that has been really three key themes of my own work and development, that roots and release, like all the versions I have been. And so just a short one out of this is there were years I barely recognized when I lived in someone else's skin, when I said yes too quickly and stayed quiet to fit in. And then I think about, I wish you'd seen me at 18, right? Wild, worried, and wanting more. Or at 32, trying to be grown, but unsure what grown was for, right? You didn't see the setbacks, the nights I started over. You met me in this chapter, not the one left over. And I think about, I'm not supposed to be the same person I was last year that I am going to be the next year. And so this piece of we're supposed to be versions. And I really want us to look at these years of how we grow, how we change and shed, right? But we're still us. And
That's
this
it.
really, came as part of my own work on I am not that person anymore, and that's okay. Um, and
Absolutely.
that then leads into a second one around fire and flight and true story. These titles get maybe a little more punchier of, oh, hell, if I want to. Oh, the nerve of me. Oh, the trouble I've stirred. Oh, the joy of not caring. Oh, the mirror doesn't lie, but it does have opinions. And the myth of busy. And, those have all been themes for me around this work and finding what then ends up summarized in my book and this work on Beautifully Over It of the peace I fought for, right? They said peace would feel like floating, but mine came through like fire, through ending things I cared for, through walking away tired. It didn't come by accident or fall into my lap. I fought for every quiet breath, and now I don't go back, right? And just the peace we fight for when it's what we need next. And so those are, your work, my work has come together in this space and this partnership and friendship that I just hope that we can meet some other people where they're at
That's
and
it.
bring them along in whatever they have to contribute into this space.
Absolutely beautiful. Love those readings, and I cannot wait to get my hands on that book.
Chantel, what gave you the idea for this retreat? How did that start and how have you seen it evolve?
Well, of course, by now you should know about this baby. She was
I
launched.
do, and I can't wait.
To
Yes, to see you
get
in
your hands
person with
on a
this, right?
signed copy.
Yes, I'm bringing mine with me for you to sign. Are you kidding me? Yes.
Amazing. Selena, this journey that I went through was the most transformative I have ever experienced. I described it to my son as remembering I'm a woman. And yes, there's a lot in it that I call a sexual awakening, but it's so much deeper than that. Our sexual energy is our life force energy. And it is that energy that pushes through, that creates the motivation and the desire and that aliveness for everything in our world. It is this book that birthed my women's programs. It is this book that birthed my women's membership. And then I thought, like I said, Mauritius taught me to stop dreaming small. I thought, well, why not a retreat? Why not bring a group of women together from all over the world where we can do this work of peeling back the layers and coming back to the core of who we truly are and enabling women to step into that self-leadership that is utterly transformational, that is not lip service. And I think that is what our world is so full of. Our world is so full of women who pay lip service to the boss babe culture or the straighten your crown queen culture. And I have a distaste for these cultures because I feel like, and it's not the movement that I have a distaste for, but I feel like so much of it is just skin deep. As women, we're called to go deeper. We're called to get naked. No, ladies, not physically, emotionally. We're called to bare our souls, and we're called to be who we truly, truly are. Yeah, this work is very, very close to my heart, and I'm really looking forward to unpacking this identity work that's related to this transformation at the retreat. And to come back to something you were saying earlier, when you did your reading through your poems about this shift in identity, we are supposed to shift our identity. You are not the same person that you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 1 year ago, 5 minutes ago. Physically, you are not the same person. Your cells are changing and regenerating all the time. Doesn't it make sense that emotionally, mentally, spiritually, you allow yourself that change? Because that is growth.
And that's exactly why I was drawn to this retreat, because every time I hear you speak about this, this is not my specialty. This is something I work at, right? And you have done the work. You've written the words, you've given the talks, you've coached one-on-one. This is something you have cultivated so much out of your core being. And yet you continue. It evolves, right? Your work in this has shifted this past year. And I can't wait to be in front of you and continue those conversations and learn even more. And I hope some others will join us to do the
Yeah.
same.